private residential dwelling. And sometimes it goes as far as saying family. So sometimes you struggle with lenders if you want to use it as a buy-to-let, because there is that covenant there. So when you've got transfer deeds and leaseholds, read the covenants. And sometimes the covenants can even restrict what you want to do. I've got a client who bought a property, they wanted to use it as a buy-to-let, but there were restrictions on there to say it can only be used for elderly, residential, or whatever. And those kind of things. And just one last thing, David, please. Yes. Thank you. David's website, it helps you in terms of the tenants, yes? If there are tenants in situ, you could have some tenants who are live tenants. So David's website actually helps split the kind of, do you mind just picking up on that? Because sometimes, yes, you could buy a property and then you could be lumbered with a tenant for life. You wanted to live there or you wanted to rent it out. So that's another big thing. But David will be able to speak about that. Because if you use his website, he'll be able to tell you. You can kind of narrow it down to see the kind of tenancies. And this is not the sale thing. It's an important thing.
There's lots of, at auction we see properties coming, tenancies come in lots of different ways. The AST we all know. We then have life tenancies where the tenant can stay there as long as they live. And you buy it knowing you can't ask them to leave. They'll be paying a registered rent, which is probably about 20% of market value, and you're buying it at a discount in the hope that they will move on at some stage, upstairs basically, and you'll be assessing their health. I bought a house in, go back in just in Fulham, back in, I went to look at a house in about 1992, and it had a sitting tenant, went and met Mrs. very sprightly, and went into the garden, and you try and get a conversation with her, and I looked down the garden, and there was a man at the end. I said, Mrs. Hill, is that an Anderson shelter? Now, Anderson shelters were built to protect people during the war, and there's an air raid shelter wherever you go. And she said, yes, laddie, Hitler couldn't get me to leave this property. Think that you can, you've got no thought. and a very quick one. I know one lady the property was being sold, and she spoke to her daughter, knowing that people were going to be coming to look at it, and she borrowed her daughter's tennis skin. Every time somebody turned up, she'd be in tennis garb with a bat and the ball, so people said, crikey, she's fit. She's not going to peg it today.
What's your website?
Yes, my website, thank you, is EI letter I group.co.uk. When you go there, you can register for a free trial, and we'll sort that out. We're also holding an event on the 2nd of May at Dickens Inn. It's a whole day workshop, and in the evening we're having a drink party, and we've got a lot of auctioneers coming, people like Andrew Binstock, etc., going to be there, chance to meet auctioneers. But I'd just like to, before we go back to special conditions, which are extra documents. It's a document written by the vendor and their lawyers, and you take subject to them, and they, as Julie rightly says, sometimes the numbers are disguised, they put in words. Just what's the worst example?
It's fees, David, and you know what is the most? It's one I looked at quite recently, maybe in the last 2 weeks, and I went through, and it was like contributions to legal fees, £5,000. It was literally that ridiculous, and there was something else contribute. Next to it was like 10 grand's worth of special condition fees.
15 grand is the highest I paid in fees.
Well, you don't mind paying fees, do you, Henry?
That's right. Well, I said we're paying top trumps, I think I've won. I saw a property going to auction. It was a live stream. We were using our software, so I was following it. A plot of land in Wales was coming under the hammer. It was no reserve. Bidding started at 50. I think as he's allowed to on behalf of the vendor. Somebody, member of the public, bid £100. The gavel was dropped. The comment was made by the auctioneer. Oh, I think you've got a great deal here. And he had a smirk on his face. I dived into the legal pack. First document I went to was the special conditions. So this guy, and I also looked, this guy had not downloaded a single legal document. And the total, I won't bore you with the details, but the total fees payable under the special conditions of sale was £16,145. And he would have only discovered that the day after when his lawyer said, you do realise you're on the hook for 16 grand in fees. Do not buy anything without getting somebody like Julie to go through the specials. This person thought they were buying a plot of land where they'd go and camp with the family in Wales for £100. He was on the wrong end of an action for 16 grand. I don't know what happened. I don't want any of you there. So hopefully that scares you all.
But David, you can't misdescribe stuff. That's where you can get people.
Yeah.
Somebody puts something in the auction and they misdescribe it, right, and tell you a lie. You can, under the Misrepresentation Act, reverse that contract potentially. And that's where, would I be right in saying most of the people went to court, it would have been via the Misrepresentation Act to try and get out of the contract?
I'm not sure, but the moment you start getting lawyers involved in litigation, you just add on thousands and thousands. Just don't go there. Make sure you read it with a microscope and ask somebody else to do it and get a lawyer to check it. Yeah, they will be, some of them can be penal. Got one more question.
What about risky lots coming to auction houses, the lots?
Risky lots is in the eye of the buyer. I mean, some people think risky's great, there's not going to be a lot of competition. I think I'll stick away. So, you've got to decide your level where you're comfortable with. And that's different for all of us in the room.
What's his name?
Henry. I'm Henry, by the way. Nice to meet you. I'm up there as well. I know I'm not good looking or anything.
Just before we close, I did a great thing a few years ago. I joined the NRLA, which is National Residential Landlord Association. It's the best £72 you will spend if you are a landlord. I've got 4 or 5 buy-to-let. It's fantastic. I had a question. What's the decision? I just want to know the position. You phone them up. You speak to somebody. You're not put on hold. They don't say write in. You talk to somebody who understands landlord and tenant act really, really well. You get common sense, good advice. Just register. Best £72 you'll spend. And I think Henry's got something to say on that.
Yeah, if I can plug the NRLA, I mean, I'm...
I did that.
Well, yeah, if I can probably plug them better. Yeah. So the NRLA do property training courses, and one of them is called property refurbishment, the other one is called key to property investment, and these are the best 2 training courses on the market.
They're the ones you hold, aren't they?
Yes. I was just about to say, I'm the presenter of those training courses, and as it happens, I do talk a lot about due diligence. And before Dominic gets a chance to talk about one more time, I also have a book, it's called The Truth About Property, and I have a full chapter about buying at the auction. And I list every single reason that will stop a property being mortgageable in a property or even breachable. Now, your book might not have that. Mine is better than yours. But all joking aside, guys, the property training courses I do, they're 250 quid. If you want to get me privately, I charge 1,250 per person per day. I also do one-to-one mentoring as well on a very selective basis because it's a small part of my business. So guys, that's the plugging over. It was a pleasure to meet you all, and hopefully you've enjoyed today.
Well, I think somebody else is coming, but we don't get kicked out. We can carry on having a formal discussion. So I'll have a look at the... Anybody, is there a time to who's coming?
Yeah.
Is anybody coming along?
Yeah, don't forget to follow me, please. My name is Judy Condliffe, and it's been great speaking with you all. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, do get some leaflets. Let's do this. Thank you so much.